Hello, everyone, and welcome to VZWBuzz Recap. And today we are going to talk about the connected family. And to talk more about the topic, I'd like to turn you over now to Monica Vila. Hi, Monica.
Hey, Misty, thank you so much. Thanks, everyone, for joining us after the VZWBuzz chat by Verizon Wireless. I have two great guests with us today. Although Robyn could hardly be called a guest, she's actually a co-host of all of these chats. And today we talked a little bit about what are some of the ways families stay connected. There's now so many, and we have two amazing, not only tech-savvy, but also parents, expert parents, kids in all ages. I was particularly fascinated to see Tommy connect with his kids using a very, very popular tool. So I'm going to turn it over to the two of them, and I wanted to start actually with Tommy, if that's okay, on what are some of the ways you connect with your beautiful 5 children, busy man.
Well, thank you. They are beautiful. Thanks for having me, kids. The best way that I use, or the best tool that I love, is I really like FaceTime. Emma and Drew are just so savvy on their iPads, and they can just click me, and they can get Dad pretty much 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, wherever I happen to be. And I know that if they're doing it, they have something important to say, and being able to be, I guess, spontaneous and being able to answer that is kind of important. When you travel and you're away from them, every ounce of time you get to be able to be responsive and kind of be a parent, even though it might be a telecommuting parent or a digital parent, I think is important. So I love using FaceTime for that, in that purpose alone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Robyn, with your teen, I know that T was super active, also very, very super tech savvy. So what are some of the ways that you connect with him now?
Well, he's moved out on his own now, and so text messaging is his biggest thing. But he does like Skype also, and make sure he's like, Mom, add me on Skype. And him and his little girlfriend, they talk via Skype and everything all the time, and then phone calls still too, and a little bit of email. So he's kind of all over the place, and that's the way I am with everybody in my family and my friends and that. We use multiple ways. I don't think any of us use just one way to communicate with each other. We really use all of them because they just make themselves, appear. There's so many different ways and different venues for it that it all just kind of works, and everybody's on so many things now, and it makes it easier to communicate.
Yeah, it's interesting that also one of the ways that I found initially, you find parents struggle a little bit with the technology divide, and kids seem to be on their screen all the time. And one of the ways in which parents can actually get into the game with their kids is to text, learn a couple of these tools. I saw Tommy Snapchatting with his kids. I thought that was fabulous, and get to learn some of these tools. You don't have to know them all, but I think you'll find that many of the things that perhaps your child may want to tell you, he or she will find it easier to say on a text to you, or on a chat message, or on a Snapchat. And so it's a way of staying and strengthening that bond. Actually, before I forget, I want to make sure that you all know that we're going to give away this wonderful LG smartphone today, and we're going to give it away to whoever answers one of the questions we're going to post in a little while, so stay tuned. Tommy, tell us a little bit more about, during the chat we talked also a little bit about online platforms, right? Not just communication tools, but online platforms as a way of families staying connected. What are some of your ideas?
Well, I think with regard to platforms, it's important that when I think about the Clifford family, and I think about, we all have lots of different devices, finding that piece of software that works for your family is very important. going back for a second to the whole Snapchat thing, I think that, if I try calling my daughter Madeline on the phone, she's never going to pick it up. 0 out of 100 times, she's not going to pick it up. But if I Snapchat her, within seconds, I'll get a response to her.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like when you think about big business, they need to go to where the consumers are. And a lot of people are thinking, well, if they're not going to pick up the phone, then they're not interested. Well, you have to evolve with them. You got to go where your users are. And I guess in my community, my users are my children. So I need to plug into them using the tools they're doing so that dad can be, it's kind of be cool and hip, but you're still a parent and you still need to communicate with them. And it's easier for me to communicate on their level than it is to try to force them to communicate on mine. And it really works.
Good point.
And so when I think about the tools, Snapchat works on, there's an Android version, so my daughters have Android versions. iOS is certainly a great thing, and it's always in your pocket. You can just do a little thing. You can do a little I love you. You can say, hey, here's Dad at the Empire State Building, or when I was at the Mall of America, here's Legoland. They can kind of follow you, and it's just, it seems very unconventional because you kind of hear the negative sides of Snapchat, and I've kind of gotten some backlash a little bit from it. But I don't look at it that way. I look at the tool as a powerful family tool to keep us together.
That's great. That's great. How about you, Robyn? What are some of the online tools for families to stay connected?
I think any of the platform, like Skype I mentioned and stuff, that's so widely available for everybody. And the thing is that people have to realize that it's gotten much better over the years. When it started, there was some of us on Skype, and everything, it would freeze up, and then people on TV would use it for interviews, and it would freeze up, and it was terrible, and it really has gotten so much better. So even if you did it before, now is the time to go back and try those different platforms again. And then there's things like Google Plus that you can do Hangouts on. There are Facebook, there's some video integration going on in there, and your devices themselves, depending on what you have, like the Face Chat, they have on the iOS and the different things. So look at what comes on your devices to start with, and then expand whatever things that you do a lot of online already. Look to see what is available, and if you're on Facebook a lot, look around and see what other ways you can use Facebook as a family to connect to each other. You can do private group events on Facebook and things like that. All these different ways to communicate with each other, and it doesn't all have to be public. It can be private. And you need to teach and it's a good learning time too, to teach your kids about privacy and what is public and what is not. And still, even if you think it's private, always err on the side of caution. Don't post anything you're afraid that somebody else could see. Just don't do it at all. And it's a good lesson to teach the kids, because sometimes leaks happen.
Yeah, it's true. One of the things that I used to recommend when I speak at schools, events, or even just friends, was you can create your own network. That's private for your family. If most of your family is on Facebook, use a Facebook private and secret group where you can actually post videos of the kids. You can post things that you wouldn't post publicly. I used to love Ning, and Ning. And Ning is also a way in which you can create, a destination for grandparents and uncles and aunts and everyone to kind of stay connected with these special events that you're having with your kids particularly. Those are the people that really care, that want to see that wouldn't necessarily be able to either travel to the event itself. And I find those tools absolutely fabulous. And in fact, it's a great exercise for the holidays. It's a great project to undertake as a family. Build a network. Who should you invite? Anybody that's related to a particular family. Post events throughout the year. It's a great way to do that.
And there's even the kind of safety features, like Verizon has the family locator, and there's Life 360 and all those things that can show you only who you want, but where people are going and coming and going from. And I think that's kind of a nice way for people to see, especially what the teenagers are doing. Where is it that they're going? And then you could talk about it, say, hey, I saw you went to the mall today. What did you do there? Just asking things about that. Or even me, I go to all different places locally, for business meetings and things, and my son is interested in where I go sometimes. He's like, what were you doing there? So you have to really look at all the opportunities you can to connect with each other as a family.
And obviously, I know we talk about it in the sense of in the context of technology, but the most important thing you can do as a parent is ensure your child feels connected to you, and that's in all levels. In some way, that's the one thing that's going to sustain them. Tommy, we're going to talk. I wanted to take it over to you also to tell us a little bit about some of the great fun activities that you do with your kids to stay connected in that other larger sense. But I wanted the audience that is expecting hopefully to be entered to win this great new LG phone to understand what the question is. And we have often during the year talked a lot about the great ways in which mobile technology and the mobile lifestyle really has enhanced the way we live. And in many cases, we feel safer with it. Perhaps in some cases, we feel more connected to the rest of the world. There are very many different ways in which we've had mobile technology provide a powerful answer. And I wanted to ask all of you, and we're going to pick a winner from your answers. What is your powerful answer? What is the one way in which mobile technology has actually really made a huge positive impact in your life? And what is it? I will tell you the conversation I had with a mom here in our local high school whose daughter started driving. And I had been on her case about switching over to Verizon Wireless. And partially because, I bleed red. I'm pretty sure I do now. And she said, I decided to switch over upon research because once she started driving, I was not going to risk her not being on the most reliable network where she could actually call and reach out in case she needed help once she started driving. And that was her powerful answer. And so with that example in mind, I'll leave you for the next few minutes to think about that. And what I wanted Tommy to talk also a little bit about how you stay connected with your family.
Well, and it's kind of a little sappy, but the fact of the matter is that I do have 3 kids with my first wife, and I don't get the opportunity to see them all the time. And one of the ways that I use YouTube, and I have a video blog, and I will leave them, messages or thoughts, or, I don't get that daily influence. But I wanted to leave a legacy with them that they could go back and see Dad and understand and have those teaching moments. And actually, they kind of have a catalog of teaching moments. And so YouTube has really been a very powerful tool to bridge that gap, if you will, and to be in front of my kids as often as they want, when they want. And I really love that.
Yeah, that is great. Robyn, what are some of the other ways you've seen, family moments and ways in which bonding can happen and other unusual, perhaps, experiences?
One of the things that I mentioned during the Twitter chat today is that a lot of times there's a gap between the older members of the family and the younger ones. There's a difference in experiences in that. And once kids get over that younger age, sometimes they don't always connect as well with the grandparents or the great aunts, great uncles, and that. And if you can find things like a classic game, there's lots of classic games, Monopoly, different card games, all sorts of things, even Scrabble. You find those classic games and put them on the devices that the younger people are using, and it's a way to bridge those two groups of people where they have everybody, they can teach the child the game, and the child can teach them about technology, and it's a way for everybody to work together. And that can be in person or wirelessly, if they're separated by miles, states, anything. So I really think that gaming is really one of those fun ways to connect and to bridge those generation gaps that sometimes we have.
What such a fabulous, important point. I was sitting in at an airport waiting room once, and I was next to this one wonderful guy who just started chatting. Plane was delayed. So what do? I chat with the person next to me. And he said something that was so powerful. He said, I tell parents, he's a PhD anti-bullying expert actually, and he said, I tell parents, grab a controller, get in the game, jump in. That's a great bonding experience. Tommy, do you video game with your kids?
You know, to be fair, I do. My son is really big into Pokemon and Minecraft, so I like to be able to do that with him. I like to sit down, have him teach me. I really didn't know a lot about it, but he's kind of got me involved in it, and that's another great way to be able to get down to their level. Just like when they're little babies, you don't want to stand up. You want to get on your knees and you get down to their level. So that's really important.
Yeah.
I agree. When my son started with online, his first MMORPG was RuneScape, and my husband and I played with him because there's other people there. We wanted to, watch that. And then he progressed to World of Warcraft, which my husband went right along with him. I did not go there. I didn't have time. So, but they did it, and it was a nice, they really bonded over that. And gaming is just like we've done family game night forever. It's just taking it to different levels. And you can still play the regular board games too. Unplug every once in a while, but plug in too, because that's where your kids are.
Yeah, plug in and learn to unplug is really, really pretty important. One of the things that I just wanted to remind everyone as a particular priority and holiday gift that I'm excited about is I wanted to show you my new Moto X. And this phone is completely customized. It has my name. When you turn it on, it says Hola Guapa, because that's how I want him to call me Hello Beautiful every morning when I turn it on. If you go to motomaker.com, it's an amazing experience to customize your own phone, and it's made in the U.S. And so I just wanted to say this is my favorite gift of the year. And I'd be remiss not to at least point that out. Somebody was asking what was your favorite of the year, and no contract if you're starting or switching over from another carrier. You can get Verizon Edge, and you can upgrade as often as you want, which is a geek's dream come true.
Yes, it is.
What's your next device, Robyn? Now you're in between two devices, right?
Oh, I know. I'm carrying them both around with me right now. There is a new Windows Phone coming soon to Verizon, and I'm sure that will be next on my list to get the next newest, Windows Phone. But I still am totally digging the Note 3, which is an Android phone, and I haven't set it down very often. So.
How about you, Tommy? Tommy and Misty, are we going to get you off the iPhone grip?
No, you're probably going to get me onto an iPhone or an iPad Air with Verizon LTE is probably my next big toy.
Okay. All right. How about you, Misty?
I don't know yet.
We'll convince her.
But you know what? I was called the favorite aunt of my nieces here. And why? Because I always bring my iPad whenever there's a celebration, and we would play together. So whenever there's a celebration, there's like, is our favorite aunt here yet? Because they're waiting for me.
My want to be the cool aunt.
My nephew is 2 years old, and he knows that on this phone, nobody else's phone, because I'm the only one that has a Windows phone like this in that group of the family. It has his favorite game on there. I have it set up, the kid zone. He can't mess anything up. But toddler touch and drag, he loves it, and he's like, Aunt Robyn, let me play, and that, and he knows.
Can't argue with that.
All right, now we've asked the audience. We're going to wrap this up, and Misty's going to look for answers to what is the most powerful example you can give us of how mobile technology may have impacted your life positively this year. But I'm going to ask our two guests to answer the question as well. So don't think you're going to get off the hook. I'm going to start with Tommy.
I think my most powerful technology moment was probably when I got an opportunity to go to China. And I was sitting on the South China Sea, and I had my cell phone, and it was a 12-hour time difference. I was on Sunday, Dad was on Saturday, and we were talking back and forth, and it was just pure magic. It was 10 years ago. It was kind of the first time we'd ever done something like that, and it set the bar quite high, but it was awesome.
Yep, a human connection moment. How about you, Misty? You have a powerful answer, or you're looking for answers?
I'm looking for answers, actually.
Thought so. How about you, Robyn?
Okay, I have one, and this is most of you who do the Twitter chats with us, you know that my grandfather passed away earlier this year.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that really connected, this was such a moment for us that I was so thankful that I love technology so much. The day he passed away, I was at the hospital with him, as was the rest of our family, and he has a favorite album that he listened to all the time, and he even asked for one particular song to be played at his funeral. And it's very calming. It's Floyd Kramer, and I was able to, with my tablet and my Xbox Music Pass that I have, you don't have to buy the stuff, you know, you get a subscription and they have all this old music, and I was able to find that album, and we put my tablet up by my grandpa's head, and we played that over and over for him, and we know that it made such a difference to him, because when we would turn it off occasionally when the nurse came in to take care of him, and you know, so it wasn't in her way, and that, and we could see the monitors and stuff change, and as soon as we turned it back on, he kind of calmed back down again. He was unresponsive.
That's really
and
That is awesome.
it meant
That is awesome.
so much to us to have that available to us to do that for him, and it really is one of the best ways that I have ever been able to use my technology in my life, and I know it made such a difference to my grandpa when he passed away. It was playing, I was standing there holding his hand when he passed away, and we were listening to it, and that is my powerful moment.
That's very, very powerful.
That's a wonderful, wonderful, powerful, very powerful.
And Monica, I found one that's
Good. Okay.
pretty powerful answer to your question. And it's from Stephen Gadsby. That's SJ Gadsby on Twitter. And he says, mobile devices help me help my children who have anxiety issues refocus and recover calm when in crowded places. And I can like so relate to that, you know, like my brother, when I remember when my brother was really small, whenever he gets really afraid when there are so many people and he can't, you know, and before there was no, you know, mobile devices during that time. I bet you this like really helps.
That's a wonderful choice for our winner today, Misty. Thank you so much. And I really want to thank all of you. We are so blessed to have all of you attend the chats. We are very grateful to our sponsor, Verizon Wireless, this whole year. These chats, their mandate is to make sure they add value and that you understand some of the ways in which they try to make our lives better and more connected to the things that are important, just as the examples that Robyn, Tommy, and Misty and our winner, Stephen Gadsby, have shared. Thank you so much. And we will see you next year. There won't be a chat next Friday, but we will see you again in January. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Happy holidays, everybody. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy holidays.
Thank you, Tommy and Robyn.
Thank you, everyone, and we'll see you in January. Bye.